Now for Global Business Updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning,
Good
Rotus.
morning, Dr. Vati. Good morning, Vimbai. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning to all our viewers. I'm good, thank you. We begin with what to watch this week. Tariffs are going to, of course, dominate, but now all of a sudden, I don't know whether the date is standing still. Okay, so BRICS, you've already touched on BRICS. That ends today. Narendra Modi was there, Ramaphosa was there, but of course, Xi Jinping didn't attend, and neither did Vladimir Putin, but he sent a representative. Wednesday was supposed to be getting that tariff deadline that's supposed to arrive, but now I think it's been moved. Lagos State's investment summit's taking place on Wednesday. Nothing really notable on Tuesday, in case anyone was wondering why Tuesday is not there. Thursday, jobless claims. Friday, we get China vehicle sales. Also, May GDP for the UK and some industrial figures. Over the weekend, OPEC Plus increased the planned hike for August to 548,000 barrels per day. Oil prices did drop. 66 for Brent. I think, no, 68 for Brent or so. No, 66 for Brent. West Texas even lower than that. If you look at the from April, 138,000 barrels was the hike. May 411. So 411 for May, June, and July. And then the markets were a bit surprised that August was higher. So now they're getting closer and closer to, I think about 70-80% of the 2.2 million barrels that they removed from the market. To trade, or rather Asian markets, pretty bearish, save for the Kospi indexes were down because folks are getting a little nervous as to what's going to happen on Wednesday. Remember, it was Liberation Day, April 2nd. There was the 90-day reprieve, which is supposed to expire July 9th. But now President Trump is saying that it's all of a sudden we now have August 1st. I think it was Scott Bessent over the weekend who said, just drop this August 1st date now. And journalists met up with Trump on the tarmac with Air Force One, and here he is, him and Howard Lutnick, both saying that August 1 is now a new date.
July 9th, or do they change on August 1st?
What are you talking about?
Tariff rates, do they change on July 9th or August 1st?
No, they're going to be tariffs. The tariffs are going to be the tariffs. I think we'll have most countries done by July 9th, yeah. Either a letter or a deal.
But they go into effect on August 1st. Tariffs go into effect August 1st, but the president is setting the rates and the deals right now. Okay?
Now, here's the thing. Back on just last week, Sunday, he was on Fox News and he told them, he sounded like he was waffling. He said that he wouldn't change the deadline, that July 9th was staying in place, but then it could change. So here's just to keep things in place. Here's what he said.
He changes. On July 9th, or do they change on August 1st?
What are you talking about?
Tariff rates, do they change on July 9th or August 1st?
No, they're going to be tariffs.
Apologies, we're supposed to have a July 9th clip, a clip from July 29th it's called Sunday's Futures on Fox. But anyway, either way, August 1 seems to be 29th? The new. Yeah, he was on June 29th, which was on a Sunday. Although I heard it was taped on Friday and then played Sunday. Either way, it seems we have a new date now. Elon Musk is. 2-3 weeks ago, he said he was going to be sleeping on the Tesla floor and he was focused on Tesla. He's back again. Now he had a poll saying that there's a new party that needs to break up the uni party, as he calls it. He said whether it's Democrats or Republicans, debt in America is still rising. So he wants to launch the America Party. The poll on X said people supported it. But as we all know, historically, third parties in America don't tend to do that well. Ross Perot, how much did Ross Perot spend? 60 million? He got 19 million votes. He didn't get a single electoral vote back in 92. Yeah. And some say he pulled votes away from George Bush. Yeah, but Musk is, to those who push back against that analysis, they say that Musk is targeting congressional districts and Senate seats. So looks like he wants to go from the ground up. But they're saying it's going to hurt Republicans. Finally, Nigeria, as we've all heard, banks are now restoring Naira debit card US dollar purchases. If you remember, things were pretty, FX scarcity back during the Buhari regime. Banks stopped. Remember, you kept getting updates from banks where they say your dollar limit now is $100, then it became 50, then it became 20, then suddenly stopped. In fact, there's a Business Day headline from 2022 where they actually looked at it saying from $4,000 to zero, banks cut dollar spend on Naira cards. So dollar liquidity now from liberalizing the exchange rate has now allowed banks to restore that back to cards. So they'll be putting those limits back in. That's all we have for today.
No, but they do make a dent, in all fairness to what Elon Musk is. Oh, yeah. So you remember 2000?
Ralph
Nader,
Yeah.
the consumer rights activist. I remember what he did in that election.
But he hurt the Democrats, but he didn't win any.
I mean, yeah, he hurt the
electoral
Democrat,
votes.
but it was a big deciding factor. You know, if there was no Ralph Nader, I mean, the vote would have swung in the way, you know, in favor of who eventually. So he also chipped out the votes. But based on Elon Musk's analogy, what he's saying is create tension in those highly competitive, quick seats that you can get.
But he's hurting Republicans and Trump.
And no, so what he wants is the disruption. The fact that, look at this big, beautiful bill. There was a tiebreaker in the House, in the Senate, in the House of the lower house. There was 4 votes. So he said if you can get like 8 seats. And pretty much what he's probably going to do is what they've always done. Have a huge super PAC that goes behind these candidates, try to sell whatever you sell to the people, get them elected. Pretty much what the Koch brothers used to do all this while. And it's not today you've had, it's just that they don't quote it as a third party. The bunch of guys that fought against Trump in the election Joe Biden won, there's a bunch of guys called the Lincoln Project. A bunch of guys were Republican guys. And they set up the PAC called the Lincoln Project, raised money, bought ads and things like that. So let's see how it pans out. I feel he's very bored. That's why he's doing all of this. No. It doesn't look like he has work. You can have work and not be busy. Yeah. I mean, there are many people that I know that they are supposed to have work, but they are not busy. They are bored. They're probably eating somewhere where they're supposed to mount something there. So the truth is, so I mean, you know some of those people.
What you're saying. Yes.
So they have work, but they are. So I think that's the face Elon Musk.
That's productivity. You're making an economic argument for productivity.
Yeah, but they have work, but they don't do it. They are not at their duty post. When you come in, you don't. Dr. Batiabai lie. You know some of those people.
I guess.
So, but as we're saying, as regards what's it called, this dilly-dally Trump is doing in the market. I think those are part of the things that have affected America's growth prospects so much. And he forgets in a hurry, you'll be judged by the economy. Yeah, you can make the argument, price of things are reducing and they reduce the price of egg and all of that. But you'll be judged by the economy. And the so-called businessmen, after you give them the tariff, they will ask for economic growth. After you give them the tax cuts, beg your pardon, they'll ask for economic growth. And that's where we are going. As regards the new margin you can spend on the dollar, I mean, it's a good one. It's a welcome one on your card. They stopped it then because of dollar fluctuation, also caused by the political class. You remember that the time it was stopped then was because we're approaching the party primaries and there was a lot of intense need for dollar. The question you should ask and Dr. Abati, you were correct. You're correct. Not to buttress your point. If it's a country that we really have serious, intelligent people like you say, how are we going to be having a party primaries and there's going to be heightened demand for dollar and we want transparency in the country?
No, but I always tell you, if you're in a primary and you're trying to induce people, you're selling, you give them dollars, that dollar still goes back into the market because they take the dollar, they go and sell it and get Naira. So
at least give them Naira. We live in spending Naira, but they will not. That's what we're saying.
I get you.
But you've created artificial pressure.
Very quickly on Elon Musk, I'm not sure if you watched Scott Bessent's on
CNN over the weekend.
Right? I think his comments were apt when he said Doge itself was popular with Donald Trump's base, but Elon Musk himself was not popular. So it's interesting to see what he's, what he's really testing here, what he's putting to the test, because as an individual, as a brand, as a political brand, he's not a popular guy.
Very true.
So that's number one. Number two, yes, so he said that, they're not going for the presidency, they just want to go for that tiebreaker vote, so he's targeting the midterms. I mean, that's a very short-term turnaround, but he's targeting the midterms. He just wants to be the spoiler. He wants to be the guy, I think, who has the controlling voice in the room that determines whether or not a ship will sail. However, I share in Scott Bessent's sentiments in saying that his board of directors hated his time at the White House. They're going to hate his time as the founder of the American Party. And what's that going to do? It's going to affect his businesses. It's going to affect the share price. I don't know whether it will affect innovation and so forth, because I think he's got a very beautiful structure where he doesn't actually need to go to work every day. To answer the question, does he have work to do? I think his organizations have just grown to such a point that everything works seamlessly. But The difference, though, is that in his organizations, he's popular. He's the visionary. Everything is built around his personality. And if they're not seeing that the board of directors already, read him the Riot Act over Doge and that participation, they're not going to like this. And the sad part is that he's actually a brilliant CEO. He's good at what he does. He's good at making money. He's good at building rocket ships and electric vehicles and so forth. But if he's not going to focus on that, then his businesses are ultimately going to suffer. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out, how that'll impact Tesla and so forth, especially in the era where BYD is coming. Yeah. Everybody is coming. He's not. He no longer has that strategic advantage that he had, let's say, a decade ago, because so many people have caught up and they're catching up at a lower price. Yeah. So I hope he doesn't gamble away his fortunes just because he's in this, hunger for power, and he's tasted. I don't know what it is with political office, and being around that level of power, but apparently it does something to a human being.
Okay, between Trump and Elon Musk, to just summarize all this tale, what you are dealing with is ego, hypocrisy, and opportunism. Trump has said that, look, Elon Musk coming forward saying he's going to create an American party, that he thinks that is very ridiculous, and that Elon Musk is behaving like a train wreck. Why? He says he already made it clear to him, even before he supported him during the campaign, that he will cancel the electronic vehicle mandate, tax credits to electronic vehicles, and that he had made it so clear. So why is he now throwing tantrums this time around? That's the major issue. So Trump says, I've made my position clear. Elon Musk says, if you are removing the EVM tax credits, which is a major part of the massive spending bill, that Trump signed on the 4th of July, then of course Elon Musk's business will be affected. Elon Musk is saying he conducted a poll, and that poll gave him a result of 65.4%. That that degree of the respondents are opposed to the Republicans and the Democrats, and that is targeting about 10 districts, House of Reps, districts in the midterm, 2 to 3 districts in the Senate elections. He has limited influence over the Senate elections. Yeah. And he says he wants to give the American people their freedom back. So that's how I say this is all about ego, hypocrisy, and opportunism.
Opportunism, yes.
Yeah, particularly on the part of Elon Musk. Oil, it was 10 countries in the OPEC Plus, including Saudi Arabia, Iran, Kazakhstan, United Arab Emirates, and so on, Kuwait, Oman, who decided that they were increasing output by 548,000 barrels per day. What we expected was 411,000 barrels per day.
That's right.
So what we now have is that if this hike is sustained, there's going to be problem with the spot price of oil.
That's right.
Already, WTI is down to, I think, 65.
That's right.
0.72. What is it called? Brent crude, which is the benchmark, is down to 67.50 barrels per day as of this morning. Yeah. So it may further go down. Well, where does that leave Nigeria's budget? So, because this is a question that we keep going back and forth on. We say, a miracle will happen. What kind of country do you have? A single product country, which is the point that the World Bank was making, that we are a low-income country in terms of our GNI.
Middle.
Low. They said low. Lower middle. Lower middle. What is the difference? $1,350 per GNI per capita. Yeah. That's where we are. And I made the point this morning that this is a challenge about productivity. If you have productivity and you are not a country that is monoproduct, in terms of your dependence. And they've been telling us, we are doing mining, we are doing all of this. Okay, if there is the effect, or can we measure it eventually when President Tinubu gets a second term, maybe that's what the analysis, the direction in which the analysis is going. So that's where the problem lies. Asia-Pacific markets are missed. All of them went down, except the South Korea KOSPI and the small cap KOSDAQ. And why is that the case? Because they are monitoring what President Trump said about tariffs, this extension, and also his threat about additional tariffs for the BRICS countries. The Reserve Bank of Australia is meeting today and tomorrow. And the expectation is that they are going to reduce the ratio by 25 basis points to put it down to 3.60%. Those are the major issues in my view.
All right.
Thank you, Rotus.
Thank you.